And it looks like we are live. We are a little bit late. I tell you, technology is great when it works and when it doesn't. Welcome to Tea Time with Terry Ann. I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach, TA. I have my cup of, today I have some green tea with strawberry, and I've added a little bit of sugar into it. Oh, I tell you, it is sweet. It tastes so delicious. Hey, come on. I get my sweet personality. It doesn't come natural. That scoop of sugar sometimes helps. I'm so excited. I am here today with my friend Michelle Cruse. Michelle has her own little tea time cup too. You can have one if you're a guest. We'll talk about that later. I met Michelle. I finally met her in person just a couple of weeks ago, but we met virtually a couple of years ago. Michelle used to do what she called a pop-up coffee club. Michelle, introduce yourself and tell me about the pop-up coffee club. What is it? Where did it come from?
Well, it was developed before COVID, before the shutdown. And so in 2019, I was networking at the No Excuses Networking in Olathe with Kathy Weaver and all them. And this lady comes in, her name's Laura Christine. So anyway, we went to a few one-on-ones, got, really connected. And we were meeting up in a local coffee shop. And we thought, wouldn't that be so cool if we could just invite our friends to come hang out too and have coffee with us and also help a small business owner. So it was that we decided, and it was a pop-up coffee. So we called the coffee club pop-up event because we never knew what time or date next week we would be available. So we would just decide and then make a silly video to go with it. And then people would show up whenever it was. And then then the shutdown happened. Laura, she's been doing a lot of gardening and really getting into that. So I decided to keep us going, and I pivoted online, to make it a virtual networking group. And and here we are. It's been for a long time, and we have it every other Friday at 2 p.m. Central. We're having a guest speaker this Friday in 2 days, actually. We're very excited because it's actually you, Terry Ann.
Oh, I better put that on my calendar.
I hope you're there. we always have a lot of fun. We love to learn at our group. We love to connect, build the relationships. And a fun fact about Terry Ann and I is she might not remember this. Yes, I did get to meet her online a couple years ago and in person just a couple weeks ago. But we met before the shutdown, before COVID.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure what year, 2018 or 2019.
Who knows?
We met in Lee Summit of all places.
That's right.
The fun, fearless female, Delane out of Las Vegas would come here, and we'd have these amazing meetings all over the metro and stuff. And she'd fly in. She's got family here, so it was really, really cool. Yeah.
Yes, and it's really cool. She's moving back.
Was she?
Yes, she is moving here. So we're going to be able to do those meetups again with her. I'm hoping she's going to start those meetups back up because, yes, that was a lot of fun. I forgot about that. Well, thank you so much. The coffee thing has really been a lot of fun. I can't always get on there, but, it's really neat. What I love most about your pop-up coffee chats is it's not just come in here, tell me about your business, get somebody else to buy from you. It's not that. Yes, kind of learn about what I do, but you learn about what I do, who I am. And I've loved getting to know you and the other people that have been involved. Now, let me ask, just for anybody who's listening, is this just for women? Are men able to come in?
Anybody can come,
Anybody can come.
We do talk about God, and so if that's a problem, then I'm sorry. We're not trying to exclude anyone. You're welcome to come anyway.
But he will be the overlaying presence. God will be present.
Exactly, because my whole life is built around that, and I don't exclude anyone. I love Jesus so much that I just include him in everything in my life. So that's actually who gave me my business. That's helped us through this crazy world, these crazy times, and still to staying afloat and staying with a big smile on your face and be happy and positive. So, I can't give that up.
And I tell you what, I love your smile. I'll tell you what, you see Michelle, I don't care when I have seen you, when I saw you in person, You even had struggles getting there, but that didn't matter when we met in person. You still, despite you came in with that big smile, and I can't look at you. I can't look at you and think negatively. I mean, that smile just immediate. It's like putting on my little princess crown. Your smile. It just gets things going.
Yeah.
I intended to put this on before we started because this is the central part of me.
Yeah, and I love that about you, Terry. And it even shows at the cup. I mean, today I'm drinking vanilla chai. I don't have to put
Oh,
anything in it because it's so good.
oh, very good. I'm not a big chai fan. I've tried it. I just can't get into the chai flavor.
Yeah, I don't add the milk, the cream, the sugar, the honey, or any of that. And so I found this kind that I think it's, who do we buy? Bigelow. It might be Bigelow or the other one I buy at
Hmm.
the store. I don't think it's Bigelow. But anyway, it has this really great blend. And
Oh,
um,
nice.
so I don't know. I like it. It's simple. I usually drink black tea or black coffee. And so this is a treat for me, even though
Hmm.
there's nothing bad in it.
Have you ever done one of my favorites is a London fog.
I think I have tried that actually at a local coffee shop here, Sweet
That's where I
Teas.
got one from was a local coffee shop.
Yep. We go to Sweet Teas and they have Linen Fog and they've got all kinds of good stuff they mix up together there. So yeah.
We're going to have to meet up there one day. I want to go check that place out. So tell me, you mentioned God is in your business. God gave you your business. Tell me, what is your business?
Well, my personal business is Legal Shield. I offer, to people, families, individuals, small businesses, the ability to have attorneys at their beck and call. So it's a service, a
Hmm.
monthly service. And we also have identity theft products for our individuals and families to protect their identity, and from all those scammers out there stealing our identity, trying to be us, trying to charge stuff in our name, buy houses in our name. These people even commit crimes in our name. And and so that's
Absolutely.
why I got into this business, is because I was praying at a job here in town where I live. I live in Gardner. I was working here in the factory there, and as a printing company, and it was long hours, weekends. I didn't get paid what I was worth. I mean, I love the people I worked with because I can get along about anywhere, and I loved what I decided to do. I always get they always give me the crazy job no one wants to do. So I work myself into the one you want to do, which is me against the machine. And I'm going to print some business cards and some flyers and other stuff. And I'm thinking, I always want to be a business owner, but I never knew what I would want to do. I mean, it just didn't. I grew up in a blue collar family. I was raised by my grandparents, and my great grandma lived downstairs, and so we learned about, you go to work, you earn a living, you retire there, and you get a watch or something, and you're done, right? And you can
Hmm.
enjoy your life once you're done working. That doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, okay, because I'm pretty free spirit, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so, but I did that, until I was 40.
Hmm.
And I was working, I was praying. I had a kid that needed me to be home. He had issues. And, my daughter's already grown out of the house, just left the house. And so I'm like praying, and the Lord tells me, I need you to stay home and take care of your own like your grandma did, but better. And I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, my kid's almost 18. It's got to, why would I be needing to stay home? Yes, I would love to stay home. Yes, I've been praying about that. So I'm like, well, if I'm supposed to stay home, I'm going to have something to do to make some supplemental income or something.
Right.
And so the guy that was working with my son showed up on my doorstep. I come home from work. I had like 60 hours that week. Things were not a good day. You don't see me sad very often, but I was mad. I was really mad. And then he pops off and said, oh, I know something. I'm like, because it's like this. It's like, if I could just stay home and take care of my own, then I would.
Hmm.
And yeah. And so he literally said that. And then I found out it was Legal Shield. Holy Spirit hit me hard. I'm like, this is it. So I joined the business a couple months later. And then my daughter on Christmas Eve day is with her boyfriend, and she's like, calls me and she's like, uh, yeah, Mom, I got something to tell you. Well, anyway, we have grandkids now. I knew what he meant that day. I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now. I'm going to stay home and take care of the next generation. I thought just one, right? Well, 14 months later, I got number two. And then my son had a couple. And so I have four grandkids and I watched three full time while I was doing Legal Shield on the side. And then January 2019, I asked my daughter to stay home so I could go full time. I did a whole year. I'm an introvert, learning to be.
You are in no way.
Yes. And so if you would have known me back then, you can ask Kathy Weaver and some other people I used to network back then.
Uh-huh.
When I had the grandkids full time, they know.
Okay.
My sunshine was only given to the people surrounding me very closely. And I was like the person on the back wall. I was the person not speaking at events. Sometimes I looked really sad or mad because I was like ready to die or disappear. And I've grown out of my box. So networking works, guys.
Networking works. Absolutely. I would not see you as an introvert, not with that smile.
And and we learn to be not only working outside the box or working on building relationships.
Absolutely.
I decided one day, it was probably 2017, 2018. And that's when I got that's another story, but I got the Joy Discovery because he didn't with just quit your job and go work at home and take care of all these grandkids and build your family unit and take care of the family. He also gave me the Joy Discovery Project in 2018. And that's helping others. This is so funny. He said, I've always had this, but he really wants me to know what it is so that I'm able to share it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Joy Discovery Project is finding the joy inside you that's already there and helping you, bring it out and to enjoy the joy and to, be joyful.
Uh-huh.
So it's a discovery project because you're figuring it out for yourself. Well, so what I do is I like to hang out with people. And so God, I don't even have to look for them. I don't even know who they are until they just show up. And one day after we're talking, they will say something that the Lord has always put upon me. It's like, I was struggling and now you just made me smile. And I'm so happy right now. It's always the same thing. I'm like, me too. Cause I needed that today,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's
Absolutely.
just that's what it is. That's what I do. And
I love it. I love it. Well, I do know that just being around you, I feel such great joy. And the joy exudes from you.
well, then that's what it is. And
And that's
always
the
end up
thing.
in
You have to
tears,
have
so
some,
I
don't you?
apologize.
You have to have the joy before you can share the joy. But it does. Just being around you, whether virtually or in person, joy just exudes. And I just love that about you.
Thank you.
What else would you like to tell me about you?
Well, there's a story we talked about at the hotel when I went to see you when you were there for Toastmasters. So
Yes.
everybody, I've heard a lot about Toastmasters. It's something I might be interested in. So
Oh, let me tell you about Toastmasters.
yeah, and if you want to talk about that, just get a hold of Terry. And I know she's great at it. So, but anyway, I was telling you a story that we talked about. It probably
That's right. Yes.
yeah, and it had to do with the shutdown. I call it that because I don't want to name it. I want it just to be what it was. It was just everything shut down.
Everything shut down. Yes.
And and the Lord, when this happened, everyone was in shock. It was like disbelief. You're listening to the TV. It's kind of like I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents would talk about, it's never been like it's always been a day since JFK, that thing that happened with him. Everybody was just in shock. Well, so the reason I think of that is because that kid memory popped up
Mm-hmm.
during the week that I was struggling, and so I was good, when it happened because remember an introvert. So I was thinking I get to stay home. I get to actually really work on my home business from home. I already did a little networking. I knew what Zoom was. We weren't real good at it yet, but we knew. And I've been on some, podcasts and some other things then and listening in and did a lot of personal development. That's the other side thing besides networking that grows you out of your box is you got to do a lot of that. I've done lots of hours of that. And so anyway, we got shut down. I was great for the first 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I was positive. I was calm. I was still. I was talking to people, it was freaking out. It's like, no, it's okay. They say 2 weeks, whatever. And it ended up how long? Don't even go there. But
Yeah.
toilet paper crises. People online like Kathy Weaver had gold paper toilet toilet tissue rolls in the background.
Yes, she had that background.
Present, and it was just an icebreaker. It was great. I love her, and just such great ideas. But anyway, I was sitting there, and then week 3 hit, and I started getting like really down. Like it hit me all of a sudden. I was like, oh my, where you feel like the whole world's ending, and you don't know what to do, and you're all negative all of a sudden, and you're crying, and the Lord's like taking you to places you hadn't been since you were a kid in a different way, though. That's what happened to me. Is okay, we're gonna have our pity party and
Have your
freak
pity
out and
party.
start crying like everyone and not be able to calm anyone down. No one can talk to you, and you're depressed all of a sudden, right? Just totally don't want to get out of bed. And the Lord says, He says, remember when you were little? And He showed me these memories. And He's like, when you were all alone, because remember I said I lived with my grandparents? We lived in an old people's neighborhood. Okay. My grandparents were afraid that I were going to do what my parents did. So they sheltered me from the whole world. Okay. So I wasn't allowed to have friends, really. I mean, they said I could have them, but I didn't know how to make any because they didn't encourage anything like that. Didn't go to birthday parties, too shy. Things, just were so quiet, and, we weren't allowed to do nothing. So I wasn't even allowed to leave the yard. I mean, where was I going to go? To the old neighbor's yard? Anyway, unless it was connecting. So the old alley didn't have a driveway alley. It was just, I don't remember what they call them, but the yards kind of go together. And the sewer line goes through the middle, so there's grass there. But anyway, I went out there and go down and meet people on my own block without permission, but they couldn't catch me. I was pretty quick. I'm a grandkid, and they're old, and which is weird. But I was really lonely, and I cried all the time. And I wished I was sitting there wishing, like I'm wishing all of a sudden that we could go somewhere. I could get out. And that freaked me out really bad. But He was showing me that and gave me that time to go back and heal me in a space that I was broken. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I didn't realize that was an issue still, but that carried on to all my relationships up until that moment. And then it's like you zap right back into it. It took about a week to go through all the different memories and heal, but he healed me there. And so I'm like, okay, I can deal with this no matter how long it went on. And it still kind of got places where you still got a little bit of an issue here and there. But
right.
I mean, and then I was back to me again, like, oh, everything's great, and I'm so positive. And because I've been through, so in the future, guys, I don't know when I'll have this book done, but I've got 3 books. One's for my grandkids and my children, so nobody will have that unless for some reason they think I should publish it. But the other 2 are from the Lord. One's my walk with the Lord. See, this is 2 parts because one is it's got to talk. God's in all of it, and He's the one that told me to write these books. So I'm writing the first one is about my story, about my whole story, and how the Lord saved me every day. He did.
Nice.
And have me alive every day because He has a passion and He has He's got a purpose for all of us, and so He's got things I have to do now. So that's just really where we are. And
nice.
But that story of me that 3rd week of the shutdown, it was my shutdown period.
It was your shutdown. I'm curious. During that period in your processing, did you just process it all like verbally and in your head? Did you journal? How did you process all those feelings?
I don't know. I think it was just I actually know it was step by step with the Lord. Okay, so my relationship for the past 20 years since He told me to move out of my home, childhood home, and move away because I had that's going to be in the book and understand that later. But I did, the last 17 years I've been in a good place.
Oh, okay, very good.
Before that was trauma and tragedy and a lot of addiction problems and a lot of bad home life and a lot of stuff that was just, it was a gigantic mountain. So when he told me to get up and move away and save me and my children and just leave my hometown and go to another place, which wasn't a great place, and then get to move up here 17 years ago. Um, yeah. So anyway, basically ever since that, I have spoke to him every single day. I thought he hated me. I grew up thinking that the Lord hated me and that I was going to hell, just to be honest, because
Hmm.
that's what the preacher
A lot
told
of
me.
people do that. They don't see that.
Yeah,
But
because
it was
that's
with you through all that trauma, and you didn't even realize it
right. And
until you
it
look
was
back.
right. And my grandparents always told everybody, "Oh, you're such a good kid," to everybody. And then on Sunday or whatever, they go to church and tell the pastor all the crap I did all week that I wasn't supposed to. And then he told me, if you keep this up, you're going to go to hell. And I thought, I have tried so hard. I've got whoopings. Because grandparents back then used a lot of things that you shouldn't probably use on your children to behave. And so I just figured, you know what, why even try? I was already
Sure.
mad at my grandma. And so I mean, it's just like that's what happened. And so God got in my life really strongly. And when I turned 31, he was tired of waiting. That's the way I feel about it. He was just so tired of waiting on me straighten up that he had to yell at me. Basically, it was very loud. It's like clear, and you're looking around like, did someone just say that? There's nothing there.
Yes,
So
I've
anyway,
had those moments. Yes. There's
so
times I
anyway,
describe it that sometimes I think God gets that skill and he has to beat me at the back on the back of my
I
head to
know.
get
It's
my
like, wait,
attention. I'm going, okay, okay, I'm listening.
I get it. What do you want? Okay, I won't do that no more. Well, anyway, so I guess it's been 20 years, and I've been talking to him every single day since then. And so, and all the personal development really did help because he knew that he needed to grow me into the woman I needed to become for him to do his work. And so that third week, he was in there, me and him, and I'd pray
Hmm.
about it and I'd cry about it. And he just kept giving me all this love while we're going through these memories. And so there really isn't anything I can't really explain it. I can't. I just know it was him and I through a whole week of struggle. I didn't really write much down because it was more of, just I'd go outside and sit because during the pandemic, I was every morning outside with my coffee. It wasn't even
Hmm.
light out yet. And that was me and his time before my husband got up to go to work, before I had to be on any calls. And we just every day. So,
That is so wonderful. Everybody has a different way of processing, of connecting, and I love how you do that. I love how when you look back and you see all through all that trauma, he was with me.
yeah,
He was
he
just
saved my
waiting for
life.
me to turn around and look at him, and then
Well,
that
I
moment
feel like he
comes.
was back there, and if I turned around, I had to behave myself now, and I wasn't ready, I guess. I was like, and that's to be good. Well, it isn't as hard as it seemed at the time when I was younger. I could have said, but I had to go through this walk, I guess,
Sure.
in order to do the things he has me to do. So,
And he gave you the strength to make, I'm sure that making that move to decide to leave the hometown and
mhm.
even to
Oh,
come
it was
here,
hard.
it was
It
hard,
was
but he gave you that strength.
right because I was spoiled rotten. I'll be honest. I mean, is what I mean, there's that generation gap because there was a big generation gap because they were older grandparents and older
Hmm.
parents. And so having this I was the oldest of all the grandkids and I was the firstborn. So when the bad things happened to me from my parents, and I was 9 months old when my grandparents got to adopt me. And back then they didn't have to wait a year and a half. They got, back then they got,
Right. It
a lot
was,
of
yeah.
people probably got to adopt kids they shouldn't have had, but that's a whole different day. But anyway, they weren't that bad. I mean, they just loved me. And, and God gave me them. He gave
Hmm.
me them. And yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
all
sometimes
beautiful.
look back at those and I think they loved the best that they knew how.
Yeah, they did. And I was pretty strong spirited, and just,
Well, I tell you, your story is resonating. Linda wants to thank you for going ahead and sharing your story. I mean, it's very hard sometimes to share your story and the personal things that are happening and to speak out. So I'm just so honored that you chose this moment to do it.
Yeah.
So how are you writing these books?
Well, right now I'm doing talks to text on my notepad here, and I'm also writing down. And then the Lord has been pressing on me. I need to take 2 days off, so that's going to happen because I, I, he structures me sometimes because of the fact that I am so busy all the time, and I get distracted like everyone else
Yes.
somewhat, and I have a schedule I write down on paper. I have my Google Calendar here. I color code it. I do all the things that I've learned over time because I used to just write everything down. And then you're like out and about and like, I'm going to have to check my schedule. They're like, why don't you use your Google? Because I write it down on paper and I don't have it. So I stopped doing that because I need to be
Mhm.
organized. I figured myself out. Everyone's different, but I write it down. I put it in my phone. I take notes. I do a lot because I will lose a whole day if I don't because I will forget.
Absolutely.
Or
Oh, boy,
something
do
will
I
override
understand
and
that.
something will go over and I feel really terrible because lately that's been going on. So that's another sign that I need to slow down a little bit
Hmm.
and take a moment because I'm missing things and they're big deals to me. And
Right.
then I'm like, crap. But the other thing was a big deal too. And so I just need to stop and slow down. So,
And sometimes that is hard to do, but I'd like, do you still take those moments, take your coffee, go have your alone time
oh, I get,
to
I get a
start
lot
your
of that.
day? You get a
Yeah, I
lot of
get
that.
a lot of that.
That
Just
makes such a
not as
difference.
much as I guess that I need, I guess, because
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, very good. Oh, I'm so excited. If you would like to, let me switch my little screen over here. Whoops, wrong screen. If anyone would want to connect with Michelle, learn more about Michelle, even talk to Michelle. Michelle is on LinkedIn, and that's how we stay connected with each other and find out what's going on.
Yeah, you guys
Be-
can message me there too for the coffee club information. I'll private message me.
And the next coffee club is this Friday, day after tomorrow.
Yep.
And in case anybody's watching on the replay, that will be the 23rd of June, 2023. Oh gosh, I still can't believe that number. At 2 p.m. Central. And it's done virtually just like this. And you connect with Michelle and you can join that. I just love the conversation that we have. And what I really like is you make sure that everybody gets a chance to talk.
Absolutely.
One person does not just basically take over the meeting. You are so good. And when Kathy steps in as your co-host, and I tell you what, everyone gets a chance to talk and to share and to connect. And I really just can't be around either one of you without that.
Well, what I love is we were here to build relationships, and that's the thing I was going to say is to break out of my box and became more of not an introvert. Because you can't do business by yourself in your house and not
Right.
talk to anyone because then no one knows what you do and nobody can buy from you because they don't know you're selling anything
Hmm.
that they want. That's the thing; they might need it. And so I'm also with Cook Construction too. So I'm in a construction business. I'm their marketing director. So that's what I mean. I've spread myself out. So, but I get to do both businesses all the time in that office and at my home office and wherever mobily that I'm at.
Hmm.
And I network a lot out in person again. So some online still. But yeah, the coffee club. Oh my gosh, yeah. I love being able to get to know everybody, and so I treat everyone like we're all friends. Even if I don't know you, you're now my new friend, and that really did help get me out of that box because you know what's the worst thing they can do? What can people do? Well, just stop coming or stop talking to me,
Hmm.
and they still might like me, but I don't know. Maybe we just didn't connect well enough, but I don't know, but most people, we have a great crowd. I mean, everybody, I love everybody that
Hmm.
comes and and men can come if they are brave enough to put up with us women. We get a few visitors. I mean, they're great. David
We do,
Rocky
yeah,
and
David. I was thinking that's the one where David Rocky comes in. Yes.
yeah, and sometimes Victor, Steve, Ramona from California sometimes. And I've got people from all over the world coming to this. We got Misty from Australia. We got our Canada women, Carrie Goodham, and We've got people from Texas, Nancy
Hmm.
Cotton, and LA. We've got Elise, and we love all over. I've had people from Kentucky, Florida. Man, there's too many states to name,
I've met
right?
so many. Yeah, I keep a notebook now. And in my notebook, here's my little notebook. And I keep track of who did I meet that week and what do they
Yeah,
do and where are they
yeah,
and that's somebody that I really really want to meet outside of here. You may
yeah.
not want to connect with absolutely everyone in the meetup, but you're going to notice one or two that, ooh, we've got some real similar interests.
Right,
And I
right.
just love meeting up with. I've met so many people like that, and it's just amazing. I just love how you guys do that and make sure that everyone has a chance to connect. And
Yeah,
that's what's important there.
yeah. It's amazing. So,
Well, I look forward to hearing more about the development of your books as you process through the way. I know it's a great way to deal with trauma and to share your story. That's how I have two books on Amazon right now. They're called Knit and Crochet Bible Study Devotionals. And that's how I started mine. Very difficult time. I journaled. And after the period was over, and I'm looking back at my journals because normally I kind of reread them and I throw them away. But I started rereading these and I, you know, they all have, there's a lot of similarity in these. I can do some editing. And so I edited them and I put them together and I showed them to my husband. He said, well, take it to the, I went to the church and I asked the women's ministry leader, I said, can we try this? I said, I think we went for 4 or 5 years and
wow,
we did knit and crochet Bible study at the church.
wow.
And so they helped me in different discussions then to say, okay, the first one's good. Let's go for a second one. And so I did the second one. The first one just using knit and crochet terms. You know what? You don't have to knit and crochet. If you're reading it, you can put in any term from any hobby you have. But the second one was reminding us that we are, and I see it so much in you, you are a Proverbs 31 woman. I used to look at that woman as, I'll never be her. She is total perfection. And if you've never read it, read Proverbs 31. I believe it starts at verse 10. This woman just, I mean, she just sounds, the ultimate perfection. I'll never be that. But then I realized I am that woman and you are that woman. She didn't just wasn't born that way. She grew into that through the traumas that we've gone through our lives. And that's so important. And that's what I love. What I look at women now, not as, are you the perfect Proverbs 31 woman? I look at it as, you are the Proverbs 31 woman. You are growing and developing. And I look at women now entirely different when I see what they're going through. And yeah, you just got another part of that whole story taking you to
Yeah, I just
perfection.
pulled it up on my phone, so now I'll go back and read that. Oh,
She
it's so
sounds like an amazing woman, just like you. And it was the day I realized she grew into that. She went through our
absolutely.
traumas. She went through our difficulties. She went through those crying spells, the beat, cry into the pillow. She did all that and came out strong and stayed strong even through those times. And
Yeah,
that's what I find amazing about all this. God
that
is
is
amazing how he
amazing.
does that.
Yeah, it's amazing. But people are hurting. People need us, Terry, and
Mm,
they need us.
they need us and we need them.
Yes, we do.
Any final words?
Just thank you for having me at Tea Time with Terry Ann. I love my cup. We tried this last week and it was just not the right day, right?
Sometimes technology just doesn't work. So this is Tea Time with Terry Ann, guest star Michelle Cruse, take two.
Yeah, and
I,
I have my cup. It was on the way last week. It got there after, and she's like, "You should have went in my room." Well, there was kids everywhere. The internet out in the country is what it is, and here we
right. Well, I'm glad that we were able to reschedule. And I want to remind you to change in order to move forward, to defeat those lies of negative self talk, and to gain that confidence. Start by changing your perspective. This will reveal possibilities for you to explore. Now, look, you see, there are new pathways opening. Which one are you going to choose to proceed on? Until next time, thank you, Michelle, so much for joining me. I am Terry Ann Porter. Life is Tea Time with Terry Ann.